Hi guys, how are you doing? If you're new here as in the YouTube channel or the writing community, welcome. This video is a continuation, so to speak, of the already existing SEO related videos on the channel. So if you haven't seen the previous ones, you can do that before or after you watch this. Either way is fine. So for today, we'll be talking about generating relevant subheadings for your content. And it's just one slide, as you can see. So let me give a brief definition or description of what SEO is. SEO is writing for search engines, right? For most of us, when we think search engine, we think Google, and that's fine. That's normal because Google is it's the popular search engine that, in fact, probably 90% of the whole world uses. So let's just assume that Google is the only search engine. So when we say SEO, we mean writing so that Google and its robots can like our content enough to show it to its consumers. That's the people that are searching online. Now, SEO writing involves using keywords. Like I said, you can go through other videos. Using keywords and then, of course, creating relevant content as it relates to your topic. So one thing you want to keep in mind is that your topic is very, very important to the overall reader experience or user experience, because when you search for something online, you have an intention. They call it searcher's intent. It's either you want to get information or you want to buy something. Whatever it is, your reason is you're the only one that knows what you're looking for, and Google can only guess and display results to you. So your behavior after Google has displayed that results would tell Google that, okay, when somebody searches for this keyword, they are looking to buy or they're looking to get information. So let's assume that this is my topic. I want to write a blog post on how to generate relevant subheadings. This is a very poor topic for a blog post. You know why? Because it's generic. Relevant subheadings for what? For a blog post, for a textbook, for an ebook, for an article, for a research paper, for what exactly? So as much as possible, we want to make our main topics very specific so that whoever sees it will be able to predict what they are going to get if they click on that topic. And when they do get to the page, they will get something very close to what they predicted, if not the exact same thing. The same rule applies to your subheadings. So if you ask me, how do I generate my topics? These are the three ways that I generate topics. I generate topics by performing keyword research using tools like Answer the Public, Oversuggest, and Google Trends. Google Trends. That's how I generate my topics. And personal opinion here means there is a this sign there is just to make you understand that you don't just wake up and generate topic from the top of your head. Yeah, there has to be some kind of personal attachment to that topic so that at least you'll be creating a unique experience for your reader, but it doesn't just stop at personal opinion. So personal opinion here means, okay, you were probably you were searching for something and you couldn't find it. that's actually how I get most of my content ideas, at least the first few contents, the first few blog posts that I published on Insight were because I was searching for something specifically related to Nigerians and I couldn't find it. And I was, well, I didn't like that I couldn't find it, so I decided to create. So that's where personal opinion comes in. And then Google search is, well, you know what Google search means. You go to Google and you search for whatever it is you want to write. So I don't want this video to be too long. I'm going to be using a sample of something that I'm working on. This is a very, well, this is a very rough draft. So you're going to be seeing me at my, you know how they say the first drafts are the worst, are terrible. Yeah, this is an example of how terrible first drafts can look like. So I'm trying to create a blog post on on content editing. I've started working on this since August. Well, no, I didn't start working on it in August. I got the idea to write on it in August, but I've been postponing it. So this is the thought process. Why did I want to write about it? Because, well, because I've been talking about editing so many times and it was starting to get on my nerves. So I decided that, okay, instead of just repeating the same thing over and over again, let me just write it so that when I want to explain something to somebody, I'll just send them the link. I'm gonna read this thing. I've explained editing the best way that I know how in this blog post. So that was the intention behind this particular intended blog post, work in progress. So this I'm on Google Docs, and on Google Docs you can track changes. So let me just show you so that at least it's still part of learning. If you're working on Google Docs on your laptop, there is always a tracker that tells you, okay, this is the last time that you edited this document. So if you click on that, you can see uh you can see the changes that you've made over time, the times that you made it, and all that. So this is actually another way to by the way, anyway, another way to track how many hours you spend on a document. That's it. So the thought process, August 2, I got the idea that, okay, I want to write about editing. 5:44 p.m. August 2, the document was still blank. Here, I this is me trying to create an outline of the things I want to write about. Now, some of these I wrote from my head, like content editing tips. I wrote that from my head. Uh, Tools. I wrote that from my head. Now, no, I wrote software from my head. I think I got tools after I performed keyword research. Now, the idea here was I already knew what I wanted to write. Yeah, I know I wanted to write something that would help people edit, like they're getting a rough draft, and it's going to teach them how to go from the very beginning, what you do immediately you get the draft, down to the point where you hit publish on WordPress. That was my intention. So I had an idea of what I wanted to write about. I didn't have a structure, which is why I decided to start creating um an outline. So this was my starting topic. This is definitely not going to be the final topic, but this was the starting topic. I knew that I wanted to make a full guide to web content editing. So I wrote that down. And then I went to, this is Answer the Public, by the way, here. So, and it's free to use, seriously. So I think I used, yes, search. Um, Still loading. Okay. All right. So when you search on Answer the Public, you're going to get questions. That's usually what it does, actually. Well, look at it. There are questions. If you want prepositions, if you want comparison, if you, but the first thing you get is a question. Now, some of the words or the phrases that you're going to meet here, they make absolutely no sense. Like, you should not even think of putting it in your blog post because they are not related. So what this tool does, it actually makes use of data from Google, like the search queries on Google, and then compiles it and groups them into questions or prepositions. So for what now? You're saying what is content editing job? I know I'm not writing about jobs, I'm definitely not using it. What is content editing? What is content editor? And okay, look at this content editing tips. How to edit PDF that cannot be edited. In fact, if I wanted to write, if I was looking for topics related to editing, like if I owned a website now that is solely for editing, I can get a lot of single topics here. Okay, so moving on, content editing examples. I don't think I'm going to be doing that. Change content date, content editor qualifications, how to do content editing tips. So of course, I'm not going to read all of this because that will be prolonging the video, but you can get subheading ideas from here. So these are prepositions. Like I said, remember that this is whatever you do, whatever tool that you are using, yeah, they work with data, but always remember that at the end of the day, somebody actually programmed that tool to function the way that they do. So in a way, it's a robot. All right, so it's still left to you as the writer, as the human, to decide how to structure whatever results that you're getting from the tool. So look at this content edit for WordPress. I think when I start um fleshing out my content, I think I would want to put something like this content edit for WordPress in the blog post, because this was actually the main reason I started creating that article. So content editing for websites, and okay, content editing and proofreading. I could definitely add that, like differences between proofreading and editing. What makes you a proofreader? What makes you an editor? Content editing, developmental editing. I think there is a part where you're going to see line editing, copy editing. So there are always different options to pick from. Selecting potential subheadings from keyword research is depends a lot on your intention, what you hope to provide to the readers. So if you want to, you can use Uber Suggest, or you can even use editing. I tried editing, but there are so many things related to editing. You find video editing, you even find gene editing, like genome editing. So that's too broad to be using as a search keyword. So give it a minute. Before that one loads, I've already load this. So you search for, okay, I actually searched for content editing tips on Google, and I got results like this. How can I be a good content editor? Which I may consider adding, because of course I'm writing for somebody that wants to be an editor, but I've not decided that yet. Okay, 9 tips to consider when editing. This is a very potential subheading. It might not be my main topic, because this person's main topic is 9 editing tips, how to self-edit your own writing. So you can get subheading ideas from this section, people also ask section. You can get it from clicking on already existing content and going through the kind of subheadings that they used, and see if it's works with what you had in mind. This person used type of editing, you see proofreading, fact checking. I could decide, in fact, I didn't have types of editing in mind. I could just decide to use each of these as headers on their own. You see, remember I mentioned copy editing is also part of editing for SEO. And editing for SEO that I just said can also be a potential subheading. So why is content editing important? The editing process. Okay. And then, the final header. So these are other ways you can actually get perfect. people also search for is also another way you can get. So you can get subheading ideas here. You can even get secondary keyword ideas from these kinds of research. At the end of the day, your subheadings usually depend on the kind of what's it called, keyword research that you actually perform. Other places to get subheading is here. Um, this is also a people also search um, column on Google. If you remember what we saw on Answer the Public, this was there, this was there, this was there, content editor was there. So all of these things are keywords that are related to content editing. Oops. I'm trying to work it. Oh God, not a robot. Right. Oh God, I'm a robot. Right. Okay. SEO difficulty 57. Huh. Interesting. I didn't check that before. Anyway, no data to display. Even more interesting. Oh, there is data. All right. So content marketing, content editing, job description. That's weird. Okay. The art of writing from. So my point is, before I drag this video, it's a very long to become very long. The point is getting subheadings for your blog content is also part of the research process. So you use keyword research tools, you use Google search, you use personal opinion, and if you're one of our writers, usually your editor is going to give you secondary keywords. You can actually get your subheadings from that secondary keyword. So back to my first draft. So this was the outline that I created, and then I abandoned it in August. And in October, recently, I came here to perform a brain dump. Well, this is not why you're here. You're not here to learn about content writing, but since I'm displaying the article, so what I did here was, like I said, brain dump. I haven't done any research. Like I've not read from other people yet. I'm just writing based on what I know. And again, based on what I intended to provide to my readers, whoever is going to read this. So that's actually another way to generate subheadings. If you have expertise in that on that topic that you're writing about, it's a good idea to actually dump your ideas, like just free flowing, write everything that you remember concerning that topic down, whether it's rubbish or whether it's repetition, anything, everything, just write it down for the sake of writing so that when it's time to restructure, you'll be able to pick out what is important and what is not important. So yeah, this is how to pick subheadings. Now let me mention something. Contrary to popular opinion, okay. Contrary to popular opinion, you don't have to stuff your subheadings with keywords. Yes, it's good if you can put it there naturally without sounding like a robot. But change is constant, as we all know, and one of the things that change is Google's algorithm in the way they decide to rank pages. And now, like in this moment, 2022, stuffing your subheadings with keyword is not a very nice way. It's not a good SEO practice because subheadings are not what's it called? Ranking factors. They are not like, even if they are ranking factors, they are not at the top of the list of ranking factors anytime. What your subheadings do for Google, right? the same thing it does for humans is tell Google the content of the following block of word. Like, for instance, blog post. Okay, this is not a blog post, but it has subheading, right? Nope. Okay, sorry. Trying to find a blog post. Nope. Let me just use Insight. That's easier. So what you're supposed to do is tell Google and tell people what to expect in um the following section of the content. So for instance, the title of this post is 5 effective business growth strategies for small businesses in Nigeria. So if you own a small business and you're in Nigeria and you want to grow, at least I've told you that this from the topic, I've already informed you that this could help your life. So please click and read. Now, it's a very short content actually. So there is okay, let me use one with longer content. This is about 1,000 words. It's very short. So the only subheading, that's the H2 that is there, is still the same. It's very similar to the main heading, which is business growth strategies for Nigerian business. Let me try to use a longer one. I think the communication, yeah, this one is much longer. And I think it has about 4 H2s. All right. So this is about communication for students in Nigeria. Much longer. So the first subheading is what is communication for students? Now, table of content is necessary for navigation, right? So if somebody is looking at this now, just this table of content, person has not started reading and decides that, okay, what I'm looking for is I want to learn how to speak like as a student. You know that it's very easy for the person to say, this is not important, this is not important, I'm not interested in definition, this is what I need, right? Because that subheading has already told them that if you go to this section of the post, what you are going to learn is how to get better when you're speaking, how to get better at oral communication. So, and the same way it works for humans is the same way it works for Google crawlers. It tells them what to expect in the following paragraphs of that content. So, tips to improve your oral communication skills. There are 4 tips. They say you should smile, you should understand the language, you should be audible. And if that's the only reason you came here, it's very easy for you to just decide that you are not reading again and you leave the page because you've gotten what you want. So that's the main job of subheading. Subheading is not for you to come keyword. Let's assume that my keyword was communication skills for students, right? It only appeared, managed to appear all 3. That's interesting. Anyway, it appeared in 3 out of 4 H2, which is even more than I expected. I was hoping to get something that did not appear so often so that you know that you don't have to stuff your keywords into your content. Give me a minute. Let's see. Okay. Okay. Now, my main keyword was, I did it again. Anyway, my main keyword was networking for students, I think. There are 1, 2, 3, 4 subheadings here, and I managed to, oh, awesome. Wow, 5 subheadings. And somehow I managed to put the keyword in all of them. Okay, I guess I don't have a personal example that um, tells you that you don't have to stuff your keyword into your subheading. If you can, by all means, add it to your subheading. It's fine. It's not a crime to add your keywords to your subheading. But if it's starting to look forced, it's not compulsory. The entire blog post should have your keywords, and that's enough. That is enough reference to Google crawlers that okay, this is what this blog post is talking about. At least remember what keywords do. When it appears a specific number of times, strategic locations, it tells Google that okay, this is what this content is about. And that's the same job that headings, topics, and subheadings do. They tell the reader, they tell the crawlers that this is what this page is about. Things to keep in mind when you're using your subheading is relevance, content, scope, and audience. Relevance, I've already explained that in details. Make sure that what you are putting as your heading matches the body of the article. I just remembered something. I don't know. I think I asked the person to delete it. I don't know if it's deleted yet. Let me check. So somebody wrote, no, it's not ghostwriting, it's guest blogging. Somebody wrote an article about guest blogging. When I saw the topic, I was expecting, it gave me an idea of what to expect. But when I landed on that page, I was disappointed because it did not answer the question. Okay, I guess it has been deleted. Huh. All right. So it was about guest blogging, and I think the topic was five ways to promote yourself with guest blogging. Yeah. Yeah, I think that was the topic. So when you hear a topic like that, my expectation was okay, it's not I wasn't expecting benefits, right? Because that topic is not talking about benefits. It's supposed to be something like a guide, 5 ways to promote yourself as with guest blogging, to promote yourself as a writer with guest blogging. That was the topic, not the exact words anyway, but that was what I understood from the topic. So I expected the content to tell me that do this. If you do this, you promote yourself. If you do this, you promote yourself. If you do this, do you understand? Like with guest blogging, specifically related to guest blogging. But when I opened the piece, it was telling me the benefits of guest blogging. In fact, one of the points there was um publicity, networking. What else was there? I can't remember. But it did not answer the question. Like I said, it was disappointing because I was expecting something else when I saw that topic and I found another thing. So whatever it is that you do, make sure that your subheading flows smoothly into the body of the content. Let it reflect exactly. Let the body reflect exactly what that subheading is telling the reader. That's what relevance means. If there's every possibility that when you're writing, here for instance, okay, I don't remember the section, but there's a possibility that when you're writing, you already have a structure like an outline, yeah, and you start adding points to it. But when you leave it, there is this general advice that when you're done writing, don't send immediately. Leave it and come back and edit, and then leave it and come back again. So when you leave it and you come back, there's every possibility that when you are rereading, you realize that this does not fit well. So it is at that point that you restructure your subheading and change it to actually suit the body, or you completely delete the irrelevant body and rewrite that body to suit the subheading. So that's in the case where maybe a client already gave you subheadings and you realize that you've written something that does not relate to subheading. So you completely delete that body and rewrite. Content scope. So content scope here refers to what I mean here is the ultimate goal of the blog post or the content that you're creating. For instance, remember that I said this is not very optimized because I could be talking about blog post or article or whatever. So content scope here means, okay, are you trying to write a very short blog post, maybe 700 to 1,200 words? Are you trying to write something like a pillar content, like 3,000 words? So the scope, the intended scope of your content should actually determine the kind of subheadings you use. If you want to break things down to like the simplest form, you should know that what you're writing is no, you're not trying to write one short 5 ways to board a cab and you end it there. You're trying to write something that is very comprehensive. So the longer your content, the more subheadings you need. Remember the networking and communication post that I just showed you. They had, I think, 4 to 5 subheadings each, and they are just 2,000 words. I don't think it exceeded 2,000 words. So the scope of your content should also determine the kind of subheadings that you use, the number of subheadings that you use, and the kinds of subheadings that you use. So the longer your content, the more you should embrace using subheading, because nobody wants to read textbook. If they are reading on a website, if I'm reading on a website, I don't want to spend so much time there reading and reading, unless of course what you're writing is very, very sweet and interesting and I cannot help myself. But at the end of the day, you have to be able to deliver value without wasting the time of your reader. So the content scope determines the number of subheadings that you use and the type, like the words that you use in your subheadings. Again, remember, your subheadings don't have to have your exact primary keywords in them. It's not compulsory. It can have it. If you can put it there, put it there. If it does not fit, please don't put it there. As long as it is actually communicating that this is what you should expect in this section. Then your audience. This one goes without saying, but anyway, if you remember the networking and the what's it called communication post I just shared, they were for students, right? Uh, they were for students, and the subheadings had students in it. So even when you cannot add your exact primary keyword, there should be a way you add your other keywords, secondary keywords. They don't have to be, it doesn't have to be something so serious, right? I think that's the whole point of this, of all the story I've been saying. Your subheading is yes, it's important, but you don't have to put so much energy trying to fit in unnecessary words that don't belong. That's the point. So let it communicate, let it tell your reader exactly what to expect, whether or not your primary keyword can enter. Just let it communicate and end it there. Okay, that is the end of this video. Um, please and please try to implement this in your content, because the more we release videos like this, the stricter we're going to get with content. And remember, I just said I asked an editor to delete somebody's stuff because it was repetition. Like, we already have a blog post that talks about benefits of guest blogging, and you wrote something with a different topic but with the exact same content. Like, we don't want to keep doing that. So if you're confused, ask your editor, does this subheading fit in? If it doesn't fit in, can you please suggest? I'm blank, I'm lost, I am, what do they call it, writer's block. Ask for help when you're finding it difficult to generate relevant subheadings. And even if maybe, I don't know why you should be shy, but if you're shy to ask for help, when you end up submitting it, tell the editor that I'm not sure of the key of the subheadings I use, so maybe you should change them if you find a better structure for them. Do you understand? So thank you for watching. Um, see you next time, whenever that will be. Bye.